I've been covering Cosmos, Atom and the Cosmos ecosystem for over 2.5 years now, full time. And very barely in those 2.5 years did I talk about what you're probably mostly interested in, which is price. And today I'm going to be doing exactly that. I'm going to be talking about the price potential of Atom because I think right now the Cosmos Hub is entering a brand new era, a new paradigm that is not only a huge innovation for Cosmos but for the entire crypto space. Towards the end of the video, I'm also going to be sharing my concerns and where I see the biggest weaknesses and downsides on Atom. Let's start one by one and start with chapter number 1, the Cosmos ecosystem. Cosmos is an ecosystem of sovereign layer 1 blockchains that are all compatible to each other with something what's called IBC, the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol. And Cosmos is the first of its kind that pioneered what's called the app chain thesis, which means that basically every application, every idea, every product should be on its own chain. And the way you can scale and the way you can interoperate is through IBC. All these features are in production. There's currently 60 IBC connected app chains. But the thing that most people got concerned about is, okay, if there's not one chain to rule them all, which is the case, for example, on Ethereum, on Solana, on Cardano, they all have this Fed protocol thesis, which is the counterpart to the app chain thesis. So if there's not one chain to rule it all, which token should I buy? Which chain accrues the most value? And in Cosmos, this has always been the main concern, especially against Atom. Fast forward until today, this is actually changing. Not only do we have very strong products that would allow you to invest into a basket of Cosmos assets, but also Atom itself is gaining more and more this position and reclaiming more and more this title as being an actual hub, because now the Cosmos Hub is building the consumer chain economy through shared security around itself. And this puts the hub more into the category of the relay chain in Polkadot. Now let's go over to chapter 2, the current Atom price and problems. Atom right now is outside of the top 25, just has a market cap of $2.7 billion US. And while that sounds like a lot, in the competitive landscape of other cryptocurrencies, that's really nothing. Atom is not really relevant as much as Solana or Avalanche is, and it also doesn't really have that vibe that a lot of people are super excited to invest into Atom, because a lot of people still think Atom does not accrue any value. And this was true up until now over the past 3 years that the Atom chain or the Cosmos Hub chain has been around, but now this is going to change with what's called the creation of the Atom economic zone, which I'm going to get to in a second. The problems are basically that when people talk about Cosmos, they talk about great technology, the organic community that everybody's involved, it's super decentralized, it's very fragmented, everybody can contribute, we have true open governance, which is really cool, but we have unuseful tokens. So that's really the perception there. Now, my counterpart and my thesis on what the Cosmos Hub did so far and why it's relevant and why it's still in the top 30. We also still have to remember, top 30 is not bad. Why do I believe that Atom has been around in the top 30? Is because Atom demonstrated Cosmos technology. It's the first one to implement IBC, it's the first one to be a Cosmos SDK based chain, and it still has this OG factor, this is our voluntary shelling point in the Cosmos ecosystem. And right now we have 60 IBC enabled chains in production around that. We also have a lot of big chains coming up now, such as Sane Network, Celestia, Barra Chain, and many, many more that will take IBC and Cosmos technology further and further to the market. So the big question now is, how does the Cosmos Hub Atom not get left behind? How does it not get obsolete? Because in my view, that is the biggest danger for the Cosmos Hub. And the direct answer to that is the Atom Economic Zone, #AEZ. That brings us straight to chapter 3, which is the Atom Economic zone. Atom economic zone is basically this concept that the Cosmos Hub has now implemented what's called replicated security. And replicated security is a form of shared security, similar to how Polkadot implements shared security with their parachain slots and their auction model. The Cosmos Hub now has this feature as well. It's already in production, and the first 2 chains are already live. So Neutron, the first chain, smart contract platform, CosmWasm enabled, IBC enabled, optimized for DeFi, $20 million TVL, already launched on the Cosmos Hub. And this chain is a brand new chain that was built from scratch. The second chain that just went live is called Stride. It just came and they just launched, and they just had the strongest product market fit, amazing UX, and they just integrated ST assets left and right, which brings them now to a total TVL of $35 million US. Now, if we look at the third chain that is in draft mode, but will most likely be voted through and also join as the next Atom zone, we have Duality. And Duality is a DEX which is fully aligned with the Cosmos Hub that has a novel consensus mechanism and concentrated liquidity feature. And why I believe they're going to be voted on the Cosmos Hub and their proposal goes through is because they propose to share 100% of their fees back to Atom, and they plan to use Atom as a gas token and not launch with their own token. So this is the third chain to join, and the first of its kind that does not have a native token, that fully focuses on Atom. And Duality is basically an app zone DEX that is focused purely on that one use case and is purely focused on Atom value accrual and utility. The next chain in line is most likely going to be Noble. And if you've been subscribed to my YouTube channel, then you know that we've been the very first ones to cover Noble here and to also share that Noble has been co-developed with none other than Circle, which is one of the largest players in crypto. And that means native USDC is coming to Cosmos through Noble. We also just have native USDT launching on Kava. I think also that's great. So DYDX launching on Cosmos is very bullish for Atom in that whole flywheel, with Noble being an Atom zone or a Cosmos Hub consumer chain. Noble migrating could be a big splash for Cosmos Hub relevance and for Cosmos Hub sustainability and revenue generation. Moving on to the next chapter, extra catalysts. What do I mean by that? Well, in the previous chapter, we talked a lot about specific app chains and consumer chains, why I'm bullish on them. And to be honest, I think there's a lot more that are exploring that. We already know, for example, Umi, Persistence, even Stargaze has bounced around the idea to potentially migrate. But also brand new ideas such as Entry Point, for example. Now, if we talk more specifically about extra catalysts, I have a couple of ideas and thoughts on why Atom could regain extreme relevance and really become a top 10 chain. First of all, I think the entire decentralized grants structure that is being created right now. We obviously already have the Atom Accelerator DAO, which has been funding a lot of great things. It funded things all the way from building out infrastructure to tooling to integrations to marketing stuff. Also events such as Cosmoverse, where the Cosmos Hub is the lead sponsor this year yet again. But also the AEDAO team has been working closely with other teams to work around ideas and to establish more decentralized grants programs. So for example, there is the AEZ Accelerator that was just upvoted, and that is a joint venture basically between the AEDAO, Neutron, and Longhash Ventures. Longhash is a accelerator that has been around for many years, and they are extremely bullish about the AEZ. And what they're going to do is they're going to fund 5 projects with 100K to build products on Neutron. Number 2, I think also the roadmap for shared security could be a catalyst for Atom's relevance, right? And I think especially with mesh security, which is something that's been pioneered by the Osmosis team and Axelar and Juno in formal systems, they are already now becoming more and more part of this working group to collaborate on mesh security, so that the Cosmos Hub eventually could also be one of the pioneers to implement mesh security. So interchain security, one of the killer applications. I think this is also going to make the hub a true hub. One of the other things, this is my third point on extra catalyst for Atom adoption, is in fact that Atom and the Cosmos Hub will be the most innovative liquid staking chain by the end of the year. And I say this because we just had a proposal 95, that was approved by the community governance, proposal by Zaki Manian and the Collusion team to build out and integrate the liquid staking module. And the liquid staking module basically allows you to liquefy your already staked atoms. So you don't have to unbond, you don't have to buy fresh atom, but with the LSM integrated, you can liquefy staked assets with one click, and you can use them directly in DeFi. Now the final and probably most important catalyst for Atom relevance and Atom value accrual is the Atom tokenomics themselves. Right now, Atom tokenomics are quite basic, right? They're innovative because they have a dynamic inflation that's between 7 and 20%, pegged to the bonded ratio of staked atom. Now, with the creation of the Atom economic zone, liquid staking progressing, which basically means you can stake and you can still use your tokens, which increases the bonded ratio. We've seen now the bonded ratio for Atom in the past couple of months skyrocket to nearly 71%, which means that at the current trajectory, in 1.5 years, Atom inflation rate is going down to the floor of 7%. And I also believe that with real protocol revenue, Atom stakers and validators have the potential also to earn extra yield that's decoupled from the inflation or emissions of new Atom. So Atom tokenomics have to be revised, and it will be revised. There's actually already a grant campaign going on from the AA DAO itself, and the winners of that, who have the best idea, will potentially be announced later this year at Cosmoverse in October. And then my guess is that after that, or around that time, we will see an on-chain proposal to update Atom tokenomics. And I think, just imagine this in combination with Noble launching USDC, in combination with Stride having strong product market fit, and Duality a fully aligned DEX, then this is the true flywheel. Long story short, the aftermath of Atom 2.0, the Atom economic zone flywheel in production now, all of it is coming together. We are accruing real users, real DeFi users, real TVL, real volumes, real trading activity, real products that have real user demand. All that said, all that value accrual, the tokenomics revamp, all of that together, obviously, if the stars align, if the bull market comes back, Gary Gensler leaves us alone, if all that is happening, Bitcoin goes to new all-time highs, Ethereum goes to new all-time highs, I believe that Atom has the potential to become a $100 billion chain. $100 billion would roughly be a 40x from here and price one Atom at around 350 to 400 US dollars. This is my honest, real projection where I see Atom could be hitting in the future if all these things play out as we currently see them. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainties around. Given that Cardano, for example, ADA, in the last bull run, hit a $100 billion market cap, this is kind of like my shelling point here. And I'm not hating on Cardano. I don't love Cardano, but I also don't hate Cardano. But this is really like where I see like this is really possible, right? So I think Atom has strong potentials. One of the most undervalued layer 1 blockchains in crypto, and with shared security and liquid staking coming up and governance refinements, I think in those three fields, the Cosmos Hub is going to be the most innovative chain in crypto. That's really my belief. And let me know what you think about that. But also, obviously, with all this bullishness and positivity, I want to wrap this video up with some of my concerns and where I see the strongest weaknesses, even points of failure for the Cosmos Hub and Atom, right? Starting with the first one, which I think is that the fact that Cosmos Hub doesn't have a centralized organization that runs everything means that the community has to do all the work. And sometimes the community is either misaligned or is just not on the same page. So there's a lack of alignment, which I think is lethal for the Cosmos Hub. Specifically, in other Cosmos chains, companies like, for example, Osmosis. You have the Osmosis Foundation. They are like the core team that works on the core roadmap items. But on Cosmos Hub, it's extremely fragmented, which is really, really dangerous for the hub. And the second thing is also there's a lack of incentives, right? So right now, if you want to build on the hub, you don't even know where to start. You don't even know how and where to apply for a grant. Luckily, we have the AA DAO and also the AEZ DAO grants programs coming up now. But still, I think a lot of people are not even aware of that. And it's really hard to just gain one connection that can help you to build those things or get you access to funding or getting compensated to build certain things. That's really the second thing. The third thing I think is communications and marketing, which I think the Cosmos Hub has done an extremely poor job at. And I've always tried to contribute as much as I can from an outsider perspective to keep you guys always updated on what's going on. But to be honest, as a content creator, it's extremely hard to get access to all this information because it's so fragmented, because there's no one to take full accountability. It's always been very hard to curate information. I think those are really the main things. And I honestly believe that Atom is too big to fail. It's too decentralized to fail. But the biggest danger, and that's my bearish outlook, is that just Atom, never really gains any traction and never manages to break through the top 15, top 10. It just always stays 25, 28. Then it slowly goes down in the rankings and it slowly becomes obsolete. Like, that's the downside of what I see happening, which is why I never go all in into Atom. It could easily just fail, right? And that's also something that has happened before in crypto. Overall, I see the chances of Atom to succeed and be a top 15, top 10 coin in the next bull run at around 70 to 80%. I see a 20 to 30% downside that Atom will just not do much. And I see a 10% chance or even a 5% chance that Atom will just become entirely obsolete. I don't really see that happening, but it's definitely something that always can happen, right? This is crypto after all, extremely volatile, extremely speculative. So let me know what you think. This was a bit of a longer video today, but share me your thoughts on the Cosmos Hub Atom. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, guys, and be good.